for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You and I both know that the Chinese are watching this hearing. They're probably pleased. What they're seeing is more partisan bickering. Now, we don't know if the Chinese bicker because they make their decisions in private. We're also seeing, I think, a false conflict between fossil fuels and renewable fuels, and that suits certain partisan motivations at this time in our democracy. I think most Americans are for the lowest cost fuel, period, including externalities. So far in this hearing, no one's made reference to the fact that you can barely breathe the air in Beijing, China, and other major cities. You can cut it with a knife. I'm from coal country. I love coal. I want it to work. But we've also created a false sense that coal is the unsubsidized fuel. Mr. Chairman, you and I both know that coal has been subsidized for decades. In my area, clean coal has been subsidized for decades. I wish some of those efforts had been more productive because it's hard to clean up coal. Maybe it's still possible. I haven't given up trying. But we are blessed with vast coal reserves, but it's hard to clean up that fuel. Now, global warming may be more controversial on your side. Most scientists agree that global warming is happening and may even have a man-made cause. So carbon-based fuels, that is an externality. So, Mr. Chairman, as you pointed out in an earlier letter on behalf of a constituent, and I by no means blame you for those efforts, it's very important that we don't create false conflicts between fuels, that we make rational decisions about the best way to go. It's been established by testimony here today that the Chinese vastly subsidize renewables more than we do, by 5 or 10-fold or larger, because we don't really know the Chinese numbers. Now the Germans are subsidizing it more than we are. Now, I would prefer the free market work entirely on its own. That would be great. We in Tennessee are blessed because a company called Hemlock, a private sector American company, a subsidiary of Dow Chemical Company, not a dewy-eyed idealist in this field, has located thousands of green jobs in Tennessee, and I hope that Dr. Hall is counting those jobs. Wacker, the leading German producer of solar panels, has also created thousands of green jobs in Tennessee. And no one is ever quite sure why they locate in a state, but perhaps the lack of a state income tax in Tennessee had something to do with it. And those states that want those green jobs, maybe they can have a more efficient state government and attract more industries. So there's some real opportunities here, Mr. Chairman, to help America have more energy choices, help us pick the lowest cost choices, including the externalities, because nobody wants to live in a polluted, dirty air environment. No one wants to ruin the planet. And experimental technologies take time, they take effort. And I don't know the stats because they're not included in this hearing, but coal may have been one of the most subsidized fuels ever if you look at the decades that we've spent on subsidizing clean coal technology. So let's do our best to try to make rational decisions for the country. Hopefully we can get back on the right path. And I think that, again, one of the worst parts of hearings like this is the Chinese see us fighting, they see the partisanship, and they see, hey, maybe state capitalism, their version, is working better than our version. And that should please them. We've got to make sure that democracy works better. And more balanced hearings, I think, can help us do that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.